Okay guys, I thought I'd show you my ceiling in my cargo van. Now, I've been messing around with this van since I've had it. It's a 22 170 Sprinter, and I got it cargo, which was kind of a bummer because I had a crew before that got wasted in the hurricane. But anyhow, I wanted to show you what's going on with the insulation. I insulated the heck out of this thing, and man, it makes a huge difference. The Thinsulate to me is awesome because this thing was an oven in South Florida without this insulation in here. And as you can see, I insulated the entire roof. I insulated the walls, everything, every door, every little nook and cranny inside the channels. And when I wanted to do something for the ceiling. I was going to buy one of those aftermarket company ceilings that are like plastic sheets, but I decided to be patient and wait for a factory ceiling used from a guy that pulled one out that did a custom van. And wow, I found one about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. It was worth it because you can see most of it's up now. The only thing the cargo van came with was the dome over the first two seats there. So these 3 panels that I've installed since are factory Sprinter ceiling, and they're gray to match my gray van, and they match the front. I mean, gray wise, the gray front is fuzzy, and these are kind of like a softer material like stuff. But anyway, it wasn't quite plug and play, unfortunately. They're a bit of a wrestling match, especially if you're by yourself. So they've got these little tongues that fit into the groove. If you can see that, they fit into these holes. I'll show you some panels that are out. I haven't quite finished it yet because I wanted to get a little more fancy and do some rewiring on my lights. All my lights were installed in the wall. Most of them. I had 4 lights, and they were a little bit short to get to the center. So I wanted lights, these had factory lights in it, so I got extra lights with this kit that the guy sold me. And you can save a ton of money. I think this thing's $2,000 from the factory, new from Mercedes, and I paid under $500. So it just gives you an example of how much you can save. And it was basically mint, as you can see. But anyway, you're gonna want for the lights, I decided to put 6 lights in. So I'll have 5 ceiling lights. I had to rewire, which was a bit of a pain in the butt. And I didn't have factory plugs. I couldn't get any of those. So I had to do some screwing around. And I'll show you what I did. This backlight doesn't go here permanently. When the panel comes in, the panel has a hole in it here. And I had to cut it because it wasn't cut, but it had like a stamp on the backside showing where it might go. So I copied that and I just cut it myself with with actually a razor knife. It's kind of like compressed fuzzy board. You can see it over here. I'll show it to you in a second. But anyway, I got a little fancier, and now I have 6 lights. And since this bracket light came over my sliding door on the side, I took that bracket off because it was in the way of my panel, as you can see over there. And I managed to install it there. Now I had to run extra wire down the channel, and I had to get 3 wires because the 3 wires is controlled by the switch, and the 2 wires are unswitched ones. So you'll see these things have 2 and 3 wires. This one's a 2, so it can only be a basic light without a switch. And the one in the rear here has the 3, so you have a switch in the rear. So I wanted this so that I could be standing on the ground, reach in, turn that on. Isn't that great? Got all my lights. I'll have a 5th. I'll have another one here in this panel, and then one right at the tail here. I'm moving from here to here because that's where the panel covers it here. So, and then I'll have this 6th light. So this is great. From the ground I can touch it, and from standing in the van I can touch it and turn it on. This one had the switch up here, and I didn't want to have to hop up in the van every time I wanted to kick the light on or off. So obviously you can shut it off with the remote, which is cool too. But it's just a little, I had the lights, I got a bunch of extra ones with the whole thing, so I decided to put another one in. And man, it lights up nicely now. So I wanted this clean factory ceiling. As you can see, I did insulate over these beams, and I had to rip that back out, cut it out as carefully as I could because you couldn't snap the little snap things into these holes with that insulation in the way. It's a bastard. And I bought the aftermarket plugs, which you don't see here, the little pluggy clips that plug into the holes, and those are crap. Don't buy any aftermarket ones. You got to buy Mercedes because the aftermarket ones didn't hold crap. So I had, the guy sold me, the ones he had, but I ran out because obviously he broke a few, lost a few. So I had to buy $45 worth of 20 plugs from Mercedes. They're like the best I could find was like $1.60. I'll put a link to, it's basically a Mercedes dealer. You're gonna have to bite the bullet and pay 45 bucks for 20 little clips or whatever. That's the best price I could find, but they'll try to whack you on eBay for like 15 bucks a clip. You gotta watch out. Anyway, those haven't arrived yet, so I'll finish this up. I've cut my ceiling away. I've done all my wiring, ready to go. Another light will plug in here like I mentioned. I'm just kind of taping these up so they don't vibrate, and I'm figuring out how to put hooks back in the van as well, because I hung all my sweaty motocross and motorcycle gear on the walls in these hooks. Now these are all disappearing as I cover them up, which kind of sucks, but I'll have to put in some rods and hooks and so forth. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that. Go on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever, find yourself a factory ceiling. Watch out, I almost bought one that was messed up. It must have been like a custom order one. They had the sliding door on the left side, and I almost bought the damn thing, meaning that it would have never fit mine. Make sure you know your sliding door or orientation, because the ceiling panel will not match up if you get one that's a unique one. I came really close. I just stumbled on the accidentally figuring out that it was not right. So just be careful. But again, 450 bucks for a mint condition factory ceiling for a 170 van. It's a 22 again. All right, I appreciate you likes and subscribes. I hope this helps you guys get your van more finished. I am insulating further into these pockets and everything. I never really finished this. But I'd insulated up to here. I will be covering up this hole, and I insulated inside of this hole. I'll be doing more in here, all tidied up. But man, it makes a difference sound wise. I did tear down the dome up front just this week. I hadn't done that before because I didn't want to screw with it. It's a pain in the ass, but I did glue the thin slate up there, and I did all the sound deadening, and I did another layer of thin slate on top of the dome, one on the metal ceiling, one on the dome. So she's really insulated, and I stuffed it in all the nooks and crannies along with the sound deadening butyl stuff. So it came out really good. It's really a much better ride. These things are a nightmare unless you insulate them, and heat wise and AC wise they're a nightmare too, especially if you buy a non-white one. I don't recommend anything non-white if you're in Florida or anywhere really hot. I would go white next time. I mean, I do like the look of the gray, but anyway, hope that helps. Talk to you guys later. Appreciate it. Likes and subscribes. Take care.